Yo, friends and fam, what is up? Hope you've been well. Welcome to another episode of my journey to my ideal lifestyle. What is up? This is Johan Tang, and on this episode, I want to document something I'm going through right now in terms of my daily productivity, and it bridges several concepts like partaking in deep work. Okay, if you haven't heard of deep work before, deep work is a book by this guy called Cal Newport. And so in essence, what it teaches is that in order for us to produce quality work, okay, stuff that is of caliber, right, of high value to other people, we need to engage in deep work. Usually we need to be in a state of deep work where time seems to be at a standstill. We are so immersed fully in our work that time seems to go by, time doesn't exist, and before you know it, you're so immersed that hours go by, you don't realize it, and that's when you actually create the most valuable, the most impactful work, be it for your own business, for in your own career, when you're creating music, when you're playing music, what have you, whatever it is, right? So deep work is a state that is super important to create substantial work. Okay, so basically I was playing out the idea, and at the same time also I was trying to get more consistent in terms of my daily productivity, right? I mean, on the previous episode I would have mentioned the life cycle of setting goals, where you have our vision for this podcast, for myself, for you as an audience, right? And so now once we have the end goal in mind, the next step is actually to live today in this moment, right? To actually begin carrying out what we must do, taking the action we must do to actually meet our shorter term goals, our shorter term milestones, and then towards hitting our long term vision and mission that we're on, right? So then a big part of being able to do that then would be in terms of how well we are able to leverage on deep work, the state of deep work, and not only that, not only once in your life, but to do it consistently, on a very consistent basis, such that every day in your life you're moving towards your mission that you've set already. And so one key component I was still kind of iffy about was the concept of rest, right? Rest time, allocated periods of procrastination, for example, or laziness. Because I don't know about you, but for me, whenever I'm in states of deep work, it's pretty okay to get into state. One of the things that Cal Newport actually mentions is to ritualize your work, right? So that's something I think I've been doing fairly well. But I realized that there will come times where I will be fantastic. I'll feel great, mentally, physically, emotionally. I'll feel great. I'll be doing my work, crushing it. And then the time comes for my usual break. I'll be like, okay, no, now I'm in this state. It's great. I can continue for now. I keep going, and for the entire day it can be great. Things are great. I feel great about myself. But then the next day, or maybe that's the morning, right? Then the coming afternoon or the next day, you realize, shit, you crash, right? Your whole system crashes. Your whole productivity crashes. The clarity of mind you had, just suddenly disappears. So that's something that kind of happened the past few days. I think because I was, as I mentioned, I was doing like some videos, creating my video advertisements based on the three traffic temperatures of my market, of my audience, for my married man niche. So what happened was that I think firstly, because this was it's pretty new to me, and I'm creating content, I'm creating my messages daily, my script for my videos daily, I think, and it's been pretty new. So what happened was that it's not bad. I'll create in the morning, it'll be great, but then in the afternoon, like yesterday afternoon, I just let go. I crashed. I was watching anime. But yeah, so then I was just playing the idea of deep work and strategic rest. Because now I'm about to watch a video after I record this episode. I'm gonna watch a summary on YouTube about this book it's called Engaging Work. Yeah, maybe I'll talk about it more tomorrow. But basically, I'm trying to now implement having strategic rest or rests during my strategically placed on certain days or in certain hours to actually make sure I'm consistently performing at my best. So one of the quick anecdotes that was mentioned in the summary that I watched like 3 minutes of, it said that this guy, one of the authors, actually he what he does is He's actually an expert in helping like top athletes and maybe like top CEOs to optimize their performance. So he was wondering what actually differentiates, really top performing athletes to low performing athletes. Was that he was wondering this question: what is really a driving force to really differentiate the results they achieve? So he was watching a tennis match and he realized that halfway through the tennis match he would see that most of the top performing tennis players, they would have short periods in the middle of the game where they actually zone out. They look as if they were zoning out. They were not fully immersed in the game. And so what he did was, but he realized on the other hand, for the athletes who weren't performing as well, they will try their best to actually keep focused consistently throughout the game. So what he did was that he placed a heart measuring device on these two athletes, on the two different types of athletes, and he found that during those zone out periods, the heart rate of the top performing athletes actually went down, right? So if there were a cycle a graph recording the heart rate of the athlete throughout the game, for the high performing one it'll be fairly high, right, when he's exerting himself, and then it'll go down for short periods of rest where the heartbeat will actually go down. So it'll be like a sine curve, it's a cycle, right? Whereas for the lower performing athletes, it'll be consistently high at the beginning of the game, but around halfway through towards the end they will lose steam, and that's when their performance actually went down. So the heart rate will be consistent without any breaks. So then you realize that the differentiator, right, that distinguishes between top performing and low performing athletes was that for the top performing athletes, they actually had periods of rest strategically placed, whether consciously or unconsciously, even in the middle of games, and this was what allowed them to be performing consistently at a high level, at peak performance level. So that's pretty cool. But again, I haven't finished watching the video. Probably share more about my learnings on tomorrow's episode. But for now, this was what I've covered so far. So that's something I'm trying to implement in my life. And to me, the biggest problem in doing that currently is that sometimes it's hard to feel good or allow myself to relax and to relax in the moment, even if I already feel as if, and I kind of know, like my body is telling me that okay, I need my break now. You've done your burst, and I need my break now. So it's better for you to actually let go and do whatever, and just lose control for a moment, right? Because I low key, I end up having this nagging feeling that I'm not pushing myself hard enough. Okay, and another reason for that is also because now when I move back to my home, I mentioned again, when I moved back home, my older brother, right, his name is Raimi Tang, and he's a grinder. He works super hard. I really respect him in that regard. And so he can be performing, he can be pushing himself every day for hours on end. I won't see him, he wakes up later than me. He wakes up maybe around 10 a.m. sometimes, 9:30, 10 a.m. But then he works he's cooped up in the room until maybe at 3-4 p.m. Then I'll see him come out for lunch, that's probably for lunch or something. Then he'll go back in his room, and then all the way till at night I usually sleep around 10:30 or 11 p.m. I think he'll be probably staying awake until 1 a.m, 2 a.m. to actually continue doing his work. Now, some disclaimer, I don't know how productive exactly he is during this time. But I know he gets shit done, right? So sometimes it feels kind of bad because I see my brother and I think, wow, he's really pushing himself, and I'm left wondering, is this just a limiting belief of myself to actually push myself, to work harder? Am I being lazy? So that's one thing that's kind of nagging at me. Although now while sharing on this video as well, I realized that in that situation, maybe a way for me to really distinguish or to really decipher whether or not I'm letting go out of laziness or out of a real need to have a rest time is maybe my fear. What is the fear that I'm feeling at that moment? Because sometimes, if you're procrastinating, the deepest fear you're feeling in that moment is that, for example, for me, when I was first writing the videos, my fear was that I did not know how to write and craft the correct script for the video, right? And I actually feared the work it would take for me to actually go about researching and having to spend maybe my effort to look through different videos to get some inspiration, for example, or the fear that I had to learn something new from some other content to actually craft my marketing argument well in the script. So at these moments where my fear is actually based on the work to be done, then perhaps, or rather most likely, then the right thing for me to do would be to eliminate or let go of those fears and just do it, right? Just do it. But on the other hand, like right now, if I'm fearing letting go, or rather I'm fearing losing control and not being productive, my biggest fear actually is that, am I just doing it because I'm lazy? Then I know that this is the fear that it might be stopping me from doing the right action, which is just to let go. Right? I cannot let the fear of me seeming lazy to other people or even to myself be the limiting force and be the negative force actually pushing my action, because that will be an action not done out of empowerment, not done out of a true meaning, but an action that is done based out of fear, right? Which, in my opinion, my personal belief, would not lead to overall long-term meaning, really, right? Actions done out of fear and out of from a place of limit, from a place of lack, would not lead to long-term abundance. That's my personal belief. So I think, so right now, through documenting this in itself, I realized that there's sometimes, I guess people work differently. First and foremost, that's really true. People work differently. I know my brother operates very differently than myself as well. Our strengths are different, our weaknesses might be different, and for me, perhaps my time for that creative juice, sometimes I let it all go. I let it go out, in really huge intensity. So then my rest time maybe would require more frequency in my rest time, my downtime, to really just let go. So in terms of you as an audience, the key thing then to really think about is, what then is your some wind blowing in my hair. Just enjoy it. So my bad. In terms of you as the audience, then the question, I guess, would be what type of strengths do you have? Okay, what is your body's innate go-to duration for exertion, for deep work? Okay, what is the best way for you that you can really ritualize your deep work routine, as well as properly implement the needed downtime that would result in consistent long-term peak performance, right? Different people are different. One way to showcase that as well is to talk about a good friend of mine. His name is Afik. So for him, of course we're so close, right? I know for him, in the first place, his best way of receiving information is auditory, through listening. So maybe like videos like this, if you're watching this, it wouldn't be as great if I try and conceptualize, conceptualize like key ideas or frameworks like this, it wouldn't work as well. For me, actually, that really works a lot. I really like it. But for him, maybe if I recorded an audio recording and sent him, maybe if I spoke with the right energy, the right tone, maybe it would help more. But depending on you could either be kinesthetic, which means you need to play around, you need to feel it, you need to use your hands, you need to be engaged in it, right? It could be visual, seeing words. Visual itself, there's different kinds. You can be good at reading words. You could be better at visually seeing the relationship. That's for me. I think there's a different term for it. I kind of forgot. If I'm not wrong, it should be called, I think, ID, is it? Reasoning. And then another one, auditory, reasoning, kinesthetic. What else? I think basically those are the main ones, right? So you need to first decide or discover which is your best mode or medium of learning, right? In fact, I would go on to say that you already know. You don't have to take a test. You can search online for a test, but I believe you don't really need to do the test. You yourself would already know through your own experience which type of learning mechanism or medium works best for you, right? Then the next step would be to actually think about which moments in your life have been the best, whereby you were able to get the most productivity out of yourself. Ask yourself, now I found that, I remember like maybe 2 weeks ago, that was when I felt like I was really in the zone. So now when you have that memory, ask yourself what happened actually before that. So what happened before that? What was the potential trigger that got me into the state, right? And then how long was the duration for? And finally, what rest time was needed after that? So for me, looking back, my best times when I'm really productive is when I don't follow some form of schedule. Like I just allow myself to just just be, and then whatever might come, I just do it. And usually I toggle between, like I have 3 tasks, I toggle between the 3 tasks. So task 1 I will do like 1/3 of the way. I will kind of get bored by it, and I'll alter the tab to the next task, and I'll continue doing it. Probably get it done halfway through, then I'll turn the tab to the first one again, or the third one, and then do work on that, and then I toggle between these 2-3 tasks, and eventually I'll get each of them done, like parallel to each other. But those might be for my creative tasks. When I'm at the gym, for example, I like to superset my workouts, right? So actually there's some form of parallel as well, but I go all out 100%, let's say, in the gym. So different situation, different working style, different tendencies for deep work. I think that's what's really important you need to discover for yourself, as well as for the downside, right? So I feel like right now I am in kind of my downtime. I'm glad that I really enjoy delivering this, my videos, and recording these for you guys. But so yeah, what else would I like to add? Let's see in terms of business per se, just to share some stuff. Yeah, I'm still doing my I'm still writing my scripts for the video challenge by Peng Jun. An idea hit me yesterday whereby I should probably start marketing or creating my tribe, my community in Singapore, in terms of small to medium business owners, small medium enterprises. Because I think in this region, in Singapore itself, because of the COVID virus, businesses are starting to realize the big importance actually of advertising online, right? So far at the end of last week, right, just in 2 days I received 2 calls from contacts of mine asking me for help, in doing sales or marketing or something, or driving traffic, which I knew I knew deep inside, I knew for a fact that marketing funnels would help. And I knew for a fact that I had some form of skill I could actually value add to them, that if I was able to position it well enough, they would be even willing to put money into it, because they could definitely be led to really realize the importance of learning what they should learn. So that's something I just had in mind. I'll probably do it. I need to focus first on getting my videos up for the marketing, for the married man niche. Once that's done, when I'm driving traffic through my funnel for the married man niche, I'm going to be creating my next funnel, which is for teaching marketing, or maybe helping small medium enterprises in Singapore do their marketing, right, and their sales and their online presence. So that's something I just want to share. Is there anything else? No, I guess not. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this episode as well, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, bye.